really have anymore. And it used to be, like maybe 150 years ago, a lot of people spoke this way, but not anymore. At least, people have complexion. So I thought it was perfect sort of accent if you're going to be, vampire. And they thought that was cool and everything, but Joss wanted punk rock. And punk rock really comes from London, so we stuck with the London.
Hi, my name is Kate, and I have two questions for you. The first one is, when you decided you wanted to become an actor, what was your dream role to do on the stage?
Wow. I almost can't remember a time when I didn't want to be an actor.
Fair enough.
I wanted to be the boy that flies. I wanted to, when I was a kid, I wanted to, boy, if I could just fly, it would freak everybody out. I don't know. I never have really had roles that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to do Macbeth. I always thought that was like a really, because I saw so many people fail at that role. I always thought, they say it's a great play, but every time I see it, everyone's bored. There must be a way to get that done so that it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I got to do that. I was in a production in Seattle, right? And the director and Lady Macbeth, we sat down for the first rehearsal, and they wanted to explain why the marriage was in trouble before the play began. And I was like, no. The marriage is not in trouble. They are so hot for each other. It's the murders that mess up the marriage. That's why it's a tragedy. And I fought tooth and nail for Lady Macbeth is not a mean person.
Yeah.
She's a great person. So when she dies, it hurts. And we got standing ovations. I got my way. And we got standing ovations like 90% of the time. It was so successful that the guy who started a theater company lost his job. Like the board of directors hired a much more famous director to come in and take his job. He lost the theater company.
Sorry. And my second question is, can I have a hug?
Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. I had to quit hugging.
Didn't I give you guys the no hug rule?
I'm sorry.
I'm okay with the shot, but
yeah,
thank you.
I'm thinking it. I'm definitely thinking it.
I'm getting psychic hugs.
Oh man.
Hi, James.
Hey.
First thing I say, welcome to St. Louis.
Hey.
It's pretty awesome here.
I love it.
Sorry about the snow. That's kind of unexpected to us too. It was 85
I'm from
degrees last
Chicago.
year. My first is a request. I'd just like you to say hello, love, in a British accent.
I don't do the accents anymore. I've moved on with my life, for God's sake. Hello.
I'd like to go in a little bit about how your interaction with Buffy was in that first scene where you broke down the house. Was it awful, awkward, or did you guys just laugh about it, or did you have to have create some chemistry out of it?
I remember, I remember a different scene. It's a funnier story. Let's see, there was a body switch, right? So Faith was in Buffy's body, but it was Sarah playing the scene with me. And it was the first time that we kissed. And Sarah kept trying to explain that when you do a film kiss, you can't put your heart into it. You can't act it, because then your face just goes like that. It's a really technical and not particularly sexy thing to do. But my character had been all about Buffy for so long, I couldn't let go of the passion. And it took 14 takes. I was humiliated. I couldn't do it. Oh, God. Yeah, but actually, this is probably, I don't know if you guys want to hear this, but what I remember about the scene where we brought down the house is actually, that was a horrible day. There's a fight piece early in the sequence where Spike jumps up on a chandelier and he kicks Buffy in the face. And that was done by the stunt choreographer, Jeff. So he was doubling Spike for that shot, and they had made the chandelier super heavy, so it wouldn't move when he jumped up on it. They didn't want it swinging around, so they made something that was 700 pounds of concentric heavy metal, into a point. And he leapt up on it, the chain gave way, and the whole thing came down on his face. So Jeff went to the hospital, and we filmed that whole scene not knowing if Jeff was ever going to come back. And as soon as we were done with that scene, we all went to the hospital to go check on Jeff, and he was not looking very good. But that dude was back on the set in 2.5 months.
I'm a really big fan. It's an honor just being sitting here with you.
Thanks, man.
My question is about Smallville. Brainiac is obviously a very iconic role in Superman, spoilers, right? What preparation did you go about to prepare for such an iconic role?
You know, I remember when I was younger, all the Superman comic books with Brainiac freaked me out because he was a robot, but he was maniacal. He had this smile, and that always disturbed me deeply. And I thought that's kind of why I was interested. That's why I thought it was such a cool role. I didn't really have to do that much preparation because at first I was like watching Brent Spiner on Star Trek, like how do you do an android? What are the things? And I finally realized this is a Kryptonian android. You can't tell it apart. It's like Blade Runner. It's just the same. It's basically just a guy. So for me, I was just trying to get that moment of maniacal smiling, that violent glee that I saw in the comic books all the time. And I finally got that. I was battling Clark in the Fortress of Solitude, and I remember standing over him, and the director was like, God, James, you're really into it. And I was like, this is the moment, this is the moment.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you want to come up here, actually? Would you like to do that?
I was just asking, how did you and Sarah cooperate during the making of Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Because you guys are always arguing.
Great question. Sarah and I got along really well because Sarah came from daytime drama and soap operas. And in soap operas, they have to make an hour's worth of material every single day. So you're always studying lines. You have to get your lines down. And she was able, it freaked me out. It took me hours to learn my line. But she was able to just read it on the way to the set from her trailer. Boop, 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 got it. And she was able to do that. But none of the other actors had their lines down like she did, except for Tony Head and me. And I come from stage, and so it took me hours to get them, but I would have my lines down really well, and she really appreciated that. The other thing I remember about Sarah is that whenever the stuntman would fight Sarah, they would sell their hits to her like way away from her face, like don't touch Sarah. And so I would come in super close. That far from her face. I would want her to feel the wind as it went by. And then she would respond, because she's trained in martial arts too, she would just flick my nose. Never hurting me. Just like, oh, you want to come in close, huh? We got along really well.
Obviously, you've already told the story of yours and John Barrowman's kiss, but I just wanted to know who's a better kisser, John Barrowman or Sarah Michelle Gellar?
I will say this, and I learned in my lesson, kissing John. Guys, if you want a kiss from your significant other, shave. It hurts, man. Kissing sandpaper. So, John Barrowman had like 5 o'clock shadow at 9 a.m. So I would say on that score, it'd be Sarah's smooth face. John's a good kisser.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey, bro.
I wanted to ask if your character always plays like these kind of, or what I've seen, you're one of my favorite actors, and I love you and everything you've done. And you always seem to kind of be like this kind of dark character, this bad guy that does good things here and there. And I always wanted to know if that's something that you always wanted to do, like you look for those roles, or kind of got cast that way.
I do the lovable rogue.
Well, it definitely works for you.
Dude, you know, I came down to Hollywood from Seattle, and I remember it was because my son was born, and I had this voice go off in my head as he's being wiped off. The blood is being wiped off him on the warming table, and I hear this voice in my head: "Go to Los Angeles. Whore yourself out. Make money. This poor little guy is not going to be satisfied with your lifestyle." Because I was very poor, but very happy. I was producing theater, sleeping on a big pile of old costumes in the back, you know. Great theater company. We got great reviews, but there was just no money. Like, if you could afford meat, it was a good day. And so I came down to Los Angeles not to prove myself as an artist at all. I'd already done that in theater. I came down specifically to make money. I was willing to be Alf's sidekick. Pay me. And I had only done a nerd character on Northern Exposure. That's how I got my SAG card, got into the union. And so that's all I was known for. And I did a couple of roles before I met Joss. I did a couple of roles, and they were nerds. And I thought, well, I'm a nerd, you know. It was weird because I just done Macbeth, you know. I was like, well, I can do the thing, but whatever you guys are paying for. And then I met Joss, and I got really known for doing, you know, violent, rogue characters, and now that's what I do. And I love it. It's so awesome. And when you play a hero, I've played a couple of heroes, and when you're a hero, it sucks. Like, you're always running from A to B, and you always have to dredge up some guilt because you can't save everybody, and you have all this conflict and stuff. But when you're a villain, you're just lurking. You're just waiting for the hero to come by, sweating, feeling guilty, and you pop them over the head, and go home. And as long as you're willing to lose the fight at the end, they build you up just as cool as the hero. They put all the cool music behind you, you get great props and everything, but you just have to know that you're going to lose the final fight. And the other thing about playing villains, we age well. You can be a good villain when you're like 80 years old. I'm going to be Count Dooku in the remake. Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure.
Hi.
Hello.
I have two questions. One, do you have a favorite character from Blade Runner? And two, what is the craziest thing a fan has done or tried to do?
My favorite character in Blade Runner was Rutger Hauer. In fact, I was, in the beginning of Spike, I was pulling from Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner and Malcolm McDowell in Cat People, which was not as good of a movie, but Malcolm McDowell was awesome. He had this feline walk that he used that I totally ripped off. And then what was the other question?
What's the craziest thing a fan has done or tried to do?
You know, that's the kind of surprising thing is that fans, especially of Buffy, tend to be intelligent. They tend to have good social skills, good sense of humor, you know. It's kind of like, if you take yourself seriously, or if you're a jerk, you don't watch the show in the first place. So I don't have that. I don't have a lot of weird stories, except in England, where they are all crazy. This happened to me this first time in England. I was not prepared for this. This little old lady says, "For my friend, we have a favor." And I'm in a sea of people. Okay, would you turn round? All right, I'll bend over. I should have bolted right there. She's like an 80-year-old woman. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. You know? And I bent over, and she just grabbed it. I heard this little voice go, "Now clench." At that point, I bolted. It's over, and I was back in my hotel room. Like, okay, when I come to England, be very careful.
Did you at least let her, let go before you rolled it?
No.
Hey, Dave.
Hello.
Okay, so if you could control every aspect of Buffy, the writing, the producing, directing, star in it, what would you want to do?
I wouldn't. That was the good thing about Buffy, is the actors were not in control. Actors, see, we're paid to be very subjective about it. So it's all about me all the time. I'm focusing on what my character wants, moment to moment. Why does he come through the door? Why does he pick up his coat? All those things. And so I'm not objective about the story. I'm not thinking in those terms. And I've been on sets where the actors were in control, and it's just Alice in, everything's upside down, and it's not fun. But when the writers are firmly in control, everything is smooth. And I would not think that I could write something better than Josh. I used to give him ideas, and he would say, "James, that's really interesting." And then there's me.
Was there nothing that you wanted to do, though? Like, oh, it's so cool if I could just do this?
Well, I didn't like the chip. Right. I thought that it would be more interesting, because the problem was, how do you get Spike to stop trying to kill Buffy? Because once they put me on the show as a regular, the question then became, okay, if he keeps trying to kill Buffy, he's going to have to fail every week, and then he's going to become pathetic really quickly. And of course, if he kills her, we're all out of a job. So how do you do that? And I thought you could construct some way that Spike would have to try to become good and fail comedically all the time. And I thought that would be great. Like, I thought that he should fall in love with Buffy, but Buffy never reciprocates. And he just falls over himself trying to be good, and it's just impossible for him. So I would have had Spike fall in love with Buffy, head over heels, right away, and not have to deal with the chick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
Thanks for braving the cold.
It's 33 degrees.
Last year was in the 80s.
Yeah.
So, where's the lovely Juliet?
She bugged out, man.
Oh.
She's got to work tomorrow. She's under contract tomorrow. I'm under contract on Tuesday, so I got a little breathing room. But she went to the airport early to make sure that she got a flight. And,
Oh.
Yeah.
So out of going back to Buffy, Buffy, Drusilla, Harmony. Could you compare and contrast these characters and actresses?
Wow. I got them all, by the way. Every single female on that set. Except Dawn, that would be wrong. No, I had Willow. Well, I tried for her, and then I couldn't get it up. I licked boots with most of those people. I would say that my favorite person to work with would be Juliet. We both come from theater. She is a fearless artist, very intelligent, and really willing to work. Really comes in fully loaded with ideas, and does her homework. And we got along. I was only hired on Buffy because she liked to work with me. I was a disposable villain. I was supposed to die in 5 episodes. She was the point. So I owe my whole career to the fact that Juliet said, "Oh, I'm over here." Overachiever. Yeah. Yeah. So Juliet, definitely. I really felt like there was the best part of Spike, the really subversive, nasty, cool part of Spike, was only really filmable if she was on set.
A great answer and a great question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, James.
Hello.
First of all, sorry about the shirt. I was wearing this robot shirt, so I couldn't find it.
You can get them, gotrmusic.com.
It's not on there yet. There's no merchandise yet. Yeah.
No, there's not.
Look, no merchandise. Yeah.
Oh, Charlie's in for it.
Thank you. Because my other shirts start to get old and I can't wear it that much. I have 2 questions for you. First one I've been dying to ask you, but every time I try to do Q&A for your website, it's not getting on there. Did you take any props home from Buffy? Hopefully the leather jacket and the leather coat?
No. I used to have a theater company in Chicago and Seattle, and one of my least favorite things about actors were the ones who would steal my props in their costumes. So when Buffy was coming down, the costume department told me, you know, James, if that coat disappears at the end of this day, that's okay. And I had my nose up in the air. No, I don't do that. And then 2 weeks later, I found that the 20th Century Fox sold that coat for $250,000. And I got 2 kids that are college bound. I was like, you proud moron.
Angel, when you guys went to Italy, they had a whole bunch of the coats, so maybe you could have just took your original and they would have not sold that.
Yeah,
probably.
I just didn't do it.
Okay, the second question is, I don't see any t-shirts about Buffy killing Edward. There's a YouTube video too, which we all love. What do you think if Spike and Edward got into, like, it's general into a fight or whatever, what would Spike say to Edward about Chloe and